This call is being recorded.
All right, please, once again, don't hesitate to interrupt if you have any questions whatsoever.
Okay, awesome.
So, yeah, with that being said, let me see if I can adjust this properly. With that being said, we know that relative to this solar return, 1 degree Scorpio, this is actually happening right before the new moon in Scorpio, which thankfully I've come to learn about the significance of, uh, placing properly the degrees. So we will see the influence and the effect of said transit. Oh, how do I do this? Perfect. And effect of said transit being or coming through the new moon, coming, right after this. But it's interesting to see that this is a balsamic phase with Mercury right on the moon direct and Venus right on the sun. Juno's right on the rising. Oh my God. Juno, Neptune, we have Jupiter here coming into Aries. This is quite the solar return chart. So, just to preface, I always like to say, actually, yeah, this is great because we did the solar return for you last year. And
Yeah,
uh, how was that for you?
it was good. You definitely predicted that move, and basically the move took. Basically, that's all that happened last year because it was such a huge transition, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's basically what you had talked about, but it took the latter part of the entire year basically to do the transition. So now I'm just kind of curious, like moving forward, what's going to happen in my first year out here? Um, you know, love, work, creativity, purchasing more property. I'm curious to know. Uh,
The
I'm
reason
just
why
curious to know.
the reason why and thank you. The reason why I was interested and wanted to be clear is I wanted to know. I think I referenced the place you were at last year too. So I wanted to know if that method was accurate, and thankfully it is. So far, everyone who I've done the readings with, it's been accurate for them. So it's good to see. Because the alternative, there's the birthplace method. So to know the move was accurate. I know 2017, like I say, for me was it made me a believer. So we know that for you, this solar return is falling in the eighth, ninth house. It's ruled by the ninth house, but it's falling into that eighth house space. Um, well, it's so close to the ninth house, it's coming out of that eighth house space, let's say. So relative to that, I think a really good way of looking at that realistically uh, is perhaps really taking into account Venus that's next to it and the eclipse. This solar return is happening for you right before the eclipse. The new
Day
moon,
before.
yeah, which is going to be around like what 13 degrees ish, or 2 degrees. Clearly, before the full moon, that'll be more on it. So, the significant nature of this we know is going to be in your 12th house. Oh my goodness. So this is going to really clear a lot of the 12th, 11th house lessons with your north node that's also ironically 3 degrees. And really, the purpose of this once again is to facilitate a very innovative, wide shift in how you manifest your lifestyle, especially now that you've moved. Now you can create the routine grounded and unconventional based off of what it is you've really set up for yourself. And this is cool because this is going to really bring everything into fruition. We also have to keep in mind that you are completing your Saturn return. So Saturn, your natal Saturn is opposite the solar return Saturn, which is going to also kind of key in what you returned in the ninth, which is interesting because I just had a reading right before you with the Gemini rising, who was born with Saturn and Leo as well. So it is kind of the opposite way for her in that um she whereas she had Saturn in the third, you have Saturn and Leo in the ninth. So basically everything that you have learned to teach, the especially from Leo, the courageous authority. I have Saturn in the ninth. So Saturn in the ninth makes both of us like college deans. We have the authority to teach what we teach because of how much discipline and expertise has come into this. So the Saturn return in the ninth is the dean. It also delays higher education, relationship with your father till 30. We see you have Pallas Athena and Isis here. That is so badass. So these goddesses now really influence and color the divine feminine approach that you have. I have to say divine feminine as well because 12th house Scorpio is divine feminine as well with your moon here, which is very legendary. It just adds a more passionate fire masculine bent to this. And I mean, I even just say masculine as much as passionate. So everything that you since 2008 have kind of stepped forward as your social karmic responsibility to teach. Now in Aquarius in your third house is completing itself by you innovating the advanced attitude, right? The philosophy that you constructed in Leo, which is very passionate and bold, is now mastered to bite-sized chunks of knowledgeable nuggets in the third. We can say that the teaching you've mastered has now helped you innovated learning. So third house Aquarius is innovation of learning, but it's also advanced learning skills, and Saturn in the third is now taking everything that you've mastered of how to teach to now learn, come into how to learn. But let me kind of reverse that because it kind of works both ways. It's like you got the rubric in the ninth house, and now you're ready to teach this. Everything you may have learned about teaching since the ninth, now you can teach about learning, or now you can really innovate how people learn knowledgeably. But we want to really take into account the passionate dynamic on stage in Leo versus an Aquarius mastering everything to the point where you can say it detached. Normally we'll see it the other way around where in Aquarius you learn it in the book and then you master it through Leo by being able to perform it on stage. So you can see both renditions, but the Uranian opposition, where you have the Saturn opposition and the Uranian opposition right now, which is unique to 76 and 77, which is again very badass, helps complete this pipeline of how you harness energy cosmically now with Aquarius and then naturally through Taurus. So with all this in mind, especially seeing that this eclipse in your 11th is now the focus of this solar return, the gift of the solar return for you is radically innovating how purely you show people this new direction in your philosophy or this transformation in your beliefs, which will very much so influence how you deal with others. This stellium with Libra and Scorpio in your eighth house is going to take how much you've grown and now carry forth this evolution through others socially. And that's what lets us see that with the Pisces rising, you are a divine being this year with the queen goddess Juno, the Pars of Fortune, and Neptune all over your rising. Because this is the persona of your natal fourth house, this will also have you really personify and spruce up this new home and environment you've moved into, and to really come more into greater definition through such influence, we can say. I think something that's also very important, if anything, not to be understated, is the unique nature, if anything, of how powerfully you'll really be once again in a position to, if not, open up this opportune sense of teaching other people. um, this is going to definitely lead directly into the 10th house MC of Sagittarius, where shortly after the solar return begins, you will already begin to work to completely change your legacy and step into this sense of being seen. The legacy of this year for you with the solar return and gift is to be seen. And a lot of what is going to be seen is this working philosophy, this occult philosophy that you'll be teaching either directly or, of course, indirectly. And of course, as we go through this period, we will actually see what that looks like. And that's the perks of once you start your solar return. If we now look into the significance of, once again, said solar returns, um, the first 6 months of the solar return sets it up. So from Scorpio season to Aries season, and then from Taurus to Libra, you'll be harvesting this. So of course, as we kick this off, before we do, we know that Uranus in the North Node is going to be in the third house, which natally for you is your sixth house.
Mhm.
So, which is really cool to see that the natal and the solar return are immutable signs. So, this helps you preserve the magical nature of your personality. It just shifts a lot more privately and personally to help you uncover the more soul essence of you. In that vein, natally, what this is innovating is your lifestyle. Giving your giving your Saturn return and how you are fundamentally innovating the way you teach society, all the advanced skills and the mindsets you have. Because remember, Sagittarius means you are the creator goddess. You are the creator. You are the ascended personality, the goddess level personality. And so, with your MC being where your natal AC is, your legacy is to be seen. It's going to literally exalt your personality to where it's in the spotlight. It's necessary to kind of direct, especially in the collective around you. So, of course, as a Sag rising, this gives you innovative skill sets with the Aqua third house. But granted, and given the authority and the karmic responsibility behind and around everything that you're meant to necessarily kind of bestow or teach. It's really Uranus now that's going to apply all of this and the completion of this Saturn return, congratulations, into how you innovate your lifestyle. How is it that you apply everything you've mastered and the more abstract, higher, advanced mental concepts of this and make it real? That's the square between Aquarius and Taurus. And with sheer genius and brilliance, you have been in the process of making it real. And this eclipse, with the wisdom you have in Scorpio, takes you unlocking maybe elements of what you've always had that might have seemed intangible, supernatural abilities that might have been just a dream that you're making real, that you're seeing through your body, that you're shocking others and how you help facilitate for them to believe. So I want to kind of illustrate that because in the natal chart, this is fundamentally going to push over the hub of completely shifting your lifestyle and manifesting such an unconventionally innovative and automated lifestyle that the income you make basically just makes itself. And so now that we take this transformation and the release of old spiritual beliefs and old, old wisdom that you're transforming to now put in context of how it's actually playing out in your solar return, this change of your lifestyle we're going to see as innovating your attitude. So, as a Pisces rising, the way you think, the way your body language represents your thoughts and characters, and the way you innovate reading people's body language and learning individually is what's going to, of course, reflect natally in your lifestyle, which will really, of course, align very magically. And so, this is also manifesting a very unique element of partnerships because we know the North Node in Taurus is opposite your Scorpio Sun. So it's unlocking you, the wisdom of you to use your wisdom as a resource to really hook other people up with the sauce that will really transform how much more value they bring to the table. And so we know that the relationships you're destined to manifest are going to really innovate your routine behavior but also your mindset and vice versa. That now lets us know that from October 24th to May of 2023, this is going to be setting up the gift of in Scorpio season, creating through Sagittarius this new belief and philosophy, especially as a Pisces rising where you're seeing into your divine potential. This is going to very quickly show you the higher reality of unseen elements and psychological elements of not only how you can align with your North Node in Scorpio, uh, deeper wisdom, but now in the ninth, show others socially with Venus how to polish and balance this. Okay. By the time we get into May, this will take this working philosophy and it's going to ground this through skills and a way to actually communicate this to where it's not just a belief. Now, coming into Leo, it's a lifestyle. So, Scorpio season to Aquarius season creates this philosophy. And now, with Aquarius, aligns actual scientific knowledge to engineer this as a part of your beliefs. You become this sense of your beliefs in Pisces. You manifest it through the actions in Aries. And then Taurus season, we complete the solar return by you tangibly manifesting the unique attributes of your attitude and skill sets that bear fruit. So that from November to February, where you took a philosophy and made it a belief, from May to August, you will take that belief, turn it into an actual skill, and turn that attitude from May into August into a lifestyle. Taking that philosophy into an attitude from November to May, and then taking that belief and turning it into a lifestyle from February to, of course, August. That is your solar return. That's really what the solar return is going to really help prepare you for. And it already starts off with a bang because coming into that new moon, the first part of Scorpio season is going to effectively see Jupiter retrograding back into Pisces. So Jupiter, the closer it gets into Pisces, is now re-simulating coming into the end of Scorpio, where we're going to have the trine of Scorpio to Jupiter, a first house chapter. As Jupiter will get ready to come back into Aries, because by the time we complete your solar return and we step into Taurus of 2023, Jupiter will be in Taurus. And so Jupiter going through your second house solarly is going to expand your wealth. There's a lot of windfalls of income you're going to be able to come into that November to April will set up, because November, now that you will post Scorpio season, now create in the 10th house the legacy and the nature of this career that innately will also change how you see yourself. This is going to, of course, quickly evolve throughout the next 5 months. Your second house, solar house, which is your finances. Natally, this is going to be your inner child, and your fifth house of course, um, creativity. So this is going to expand and evolve your talents that will now play out in evolving the money you make with your creativity, and vice versa, how your self-esteem in the solar return heals and adds more creative courage to the risks you may take moving forward, all of which gears towards innovating your lifestyle and how creatively you can live your life. So once again, that pipeline from November all the way to March is breaking through out of the AC, where we will see your first chapter start in Pisces. Like when I had my 10th house solar return, it wasn't until the sun went through my first house, I moved to Vegas and chapter one started for me. So it'd be interesting to see that with you because once again, Neptune's on Pisces, Juno's on Pisces. So you're becoming this divine queen goddess archetype coming into March. And so on the way there, the eclipse is going to really set into play the nature of this philosophy that will already transform your spiritual beliefs around what space you hold in relationships and how your abilities influence that. Sagittarius season is going to now change how you express your personality and primarily step into the unique element of how powerfully you also see the vision moving forward. This will set the direction of coming into Capricorn season, how you awaken and transform out of where these actions belong and how that impacts natally your self-esteem. Because the solar return moon is in Libra, all year you'll definitely be keenly receptive to the true nature of people's character through their actions. And the grand air trine the solar return chart creates brings this triplicity of information to really be knowledgeable about what actions to take with people despite what they say, but based on what actions they take. It's going to be very instrumental in gleaning context clues around the secret nature of who people are, whether they mean well or not, especially because the square of Pluto to Mercury and the moon will make this very intensely felt. And so you'll be breaking through this extreme testing of how pure people are around you to where if they're not pure, it will now create extreme clashes with them to where they have to be called out and exposed so that you're not dealing with anyone who's wasting your time. And these microaggressions will be felt very keenly. Now, this dynamic itself, we will see push through up until about March of 2023, where Pluto will not only go into Aquarius, but it will also square your Scorpio. And so now the Pluto progression of the solar return will be the intensifying narrative that with your solar return, sun and moon will make you aware and receptive of the social dynamics of how this collective narrative is beginning to intensify. Saturn, of course, we'll see also progress into Pisces as it will leave Aquarius. And so this will have you anchor a lot more how you're renovating your own inner world with your home, but also anchoring more responsibility of how you take those reins. So once we step into Aquarius and Pisces season, this will now have you on your person be much more keenly receptive and aware to how to personify and just make more sense, give or take, of these dynamics, and not just these dynamics, but how you identify and transcend into becoming this. By the time we step out of Aquarius into March, you are now becoming this nature of your philosophy. Aquarius season is going to be the square that will help you release old beliefs relative to scientific knowledge that starts to bring into form abstract qualities of your philosophy that didn't seem possible, but are actually more knowledgeable than may have been accepted, not on your part, but others who may have been skeptical, or just elements of doubt within yourself. We know, of course, this is your third house natally, so this will develop your attitude, but this is going to be very powerful breakthrough in innovating how these beliefs will be a part of your lifestyle. Okay. Because once we step into Pisces season, this is going to really change everything to move forward. By this time, of course, Jupiter will be back in Aries. And so this will really change the approach of how you're able to take what was abstract and then now becoming super real. And this is what's going to bring us into Aries season and manifest the powerful nature of the value of your inner child and have you move forward quite quickly, especially with the opposition of Jupiter with the sun in Aries to the solar return moon and Mercury, which will, relative to now and by then, have you see so much growth and how much more dynamically courageous and powerful you are, and how much more insight you have moving forward. Boom, this is going to lead to now Taurus season, which will effectively complete the eclipse. And not only will it complete the eclipse chapter, this will now bring into tangible reality the innovation of your lifestyle, which in the solar return will be the innovation of your attitude, the completion and the gift of the solar return to now ground this philosophy in chunk bite-sized skills that you can actually show and teach other people or people can learn from. You can innovate how people learn from this wisdom. Of course, what this looks like will be more detailed coming into Sagittarius season, where this will be given vision. And so what vision that was given, now you're communicating personally and privately through Gemini. The transformation of the social circle in Capricorn is now creating new ground in Cancer with Pluto and Aquarius to creatively express the sincerity of these emotions and psychically with others. The square Cancer season makes to Libra will also show how much you've broken through inhibitions coming into January of 2023 that are no longer inhibitions, but freely show how much more comfort you've broken out your comfort zone or share certain social dynamics. And then Leo will make these beliefs a creative part of your lifestyle, which is still ninth house now in your natal chart. So redefine the fundamental completion of the Saturn return in your philosophy, and then now take the divine element of everything you become in March, and then critically express that socially to others in Virgo season. And that ends the solar return in a nutshell. I know I did say a lot, which, uh, of course, replaying this over the next year will help, hopefully, help bring more insight. I do also want to speak on Mars, because Mars in Gemini during this retrograding will reevaluate how you take the direction you take, or what actions you take. So you could look forward to, kind of shifting the degree of what direction you take several times once coming into the direct motion, where you'll be more clear on what direction you're taking. So up until then, coming into next year, you'll just kind of experiment with different possibilities of what can happen, but you will be aligned with this grand air trine regardless the whole time. And yeah, did you have any questions?
So you're basically saying that like I have creativity like in line of a few ideas of what I want to do moving forward, and you're saying that this is definitely basically a good idea to move forward with it all.
Oh yeah, and to experiment too with what you can do, because of course what it looks like you'll do now might be starkly different, because you might have so much more resources by then and support. You probably might be able to do more. So you might change how you do it.
Awesome. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'm gonna send you this recording right now to you.
Awesome.
All right, you stay blessed.
You too, honey.
Bye.